Getting all around my room, my world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here in the World of Juice channel, and welcome back to episode number 4, season number 4 of the New England Patriots 10-year dynasty here on Madden 25. That is right, we are back, and we are looking to finally take that next step. In the last episode, I posed the question, will Drake May ever take that next step? And I think he can take that next step, which the next step being going from just a fine quarterback to that next level of like really, really good, I'll win you games because I'm the quarterback type of level. I posed that question, and I think he can do that. But the playbook we were running was the Houston Texans playbook. I don't think it really did its job. We really didn't do that well because I do think we have a good enough team to make the playoffs and actually make a decent run in the playoffs. We just have to have the right combination of playbooks to help us out. And I think maybe this time we actually do. So season 4, I think, is the beginning of our journey to a dynasty. I know it's still a long ways away, but we are coming up on the end of the series. I mean, we're already 4 episodes deep. We've only got 6 episodes left to form a dynasty. That seems like a lot of time, but when you're actually in it, it's not actually that long of a time. 6 years to form a dynasty, you got to win championship after championship after championship. It's going to be a tight road to get to where we want to get, but I do think we can eventually do that with the combination of players that we have, the playbook that we have, and then hopefully keeping those combination of players around with re-signing them and bringing them back with their contracts. So without further ado, it is time to get to season number 4. Let's do it. If you go on to enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club, and let's go see what this New England Patriot roster's got up its sleeve here in year 4. So here we are. It is year number 4 of the dynasty. We are an 86 overall team with an 84 offense and 89 defense, which is why I believe we can get the job done. Now, if I go over here to the, not the staff section, I was going to go to the schemes so we can see our playbooks and everything. Let's go right there, team schemes, and find out what we're working with. So I changed it from Houston Texans playbook to San Francisco offense, and I think we're still running Baltimore defense. I think we ran that last year as well. But we are going to be running San Francisco offense because I think if we can utilize Drake May in a Brock Purdy type of role where he's just chucking the ball to the receiving talent that we have, which includes Chris Olave, Keon Coleman, Jalen Polk, Demario Douglas, and Javon Baker. If he can just deliver the ball to them, I think we can win a bunch of games. I mean, our offense is really, really solid. We've even got some good backups in the backup center that we drafted this past year. We've got Green, who I think we traded for a couple of years ago. He's a superstar development player. We've got Robinson as a backup guard. We've got some good depth in the offensive line. Obviously, we need to get even more good depth in the offensive line in case we can't re-sign any of these guys that we have starting. We have 2 really good tight ends. We obviously have Drake May as our quarterback, Ramondre Stevenson. We need some good stuff on offense, but our defense is really our strong suit, as you can see by the overalls of all of our players and the development trades of all of our players. We drafted a corner in the last episode in the offseason, or in the draft, I guess. Bennett, who I think could be a really, really good addition, because we did need another really solid corner. We had Gonzalez, we had Jones, we had Caleb Farley, we had Van Buren, and Van Buren could end up being a good player for us, but we needed that next top guy, and I think Bennett can be that next top guy. Defensive line, we're looking really solid. I want to see Robinson and Barmore develop slightly more. Barmore probably not so much because he's a little bit older now, but Robinson I'd like to see grow a little bit, unless maybe we just have to move on from him and get a draft another defensive lineman. That's possible. We've got Bennett, another Bennett, funny enough. This dude's a stud. He's a freak. Biddle and him are like a dynamic duo, a 1-2 punch of domination. Quay Walker and Josh Uche are whatever. They're fine linebackers for right now. We probably are eventually going to need to move on from them. Mapu will start over Kyle Duggar this year. We might even just trade Kyle Duggar this offseason. depending on what happens. And then we've got Jabril Peppers. We don't really have a backup plan at safety for Jabril Peppers. We've got Van Buren. I guess we can move him to safety. He's a 77 overall. Or we draft a safety or we sign a free agent safety. I don't really know what happens, but we'll have to figure it out. I think we've got a good team. I think this is a playoff team as long as the San Francisco playbook gives us the wins that we deserve to get because we have such a good team. And it looks like it is a quarterback-heavy draft class this year. Interesting. 4 of the top 5 players are all quarterbacks. So if this is a draft you need a quarterback, you're going to be in luck. Then you've got some offensive tackles, which would not be a bad thing to draft. We could use offensive tackle in case Aquanu or Owenu, in case both of them, we can't re-sign either of them. So we could use a backup tackle that's really, really solid. There is a pass rusher here, Nate Austin. Then a couple outside linebackers, which we could use. A corner, the first corner is actually this dude, Caleb Staley. So this is probably not the greatest cornerback draft, which is really rare for a Madden auto-generated draft. You don't ever really see corner, and it still says it's the strength of the class for some reason. I don't know how that could be a possibility when the only corner in the top half is around one guy and he's super low down the board. But whatever, maybe the depth in general is just so good this year for corners. And it says breaking news right on where my camera is for Patrick Mahomes. It says, I think that it could be dislocated wrist is what that could say for Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if he's injured to start the season or not. I don't know. Something's breaking with Patrick Mahomes. So we're going to simulate to the end of the season. And we are going to hopefully get this Patriots team some good stuff. Naturally, you know what? We're going to simulate to I think we simulate to the halfway point. Usually I want to get things going and stuff, but I also want to start scouting. So we're going to simulate to the halfway point of the year, which is like week 8, week 9, stuff like that. And then we will do all the scouting stuff. Then we'll simulate to the end of the year, and we'll hopefully have a good season for the Patriots. But I will see you guys at week number 8. We made it to week 8, and we are actually playing pretty solid. 4-2 on the year. It is a really, really good start to the year. Really, really good start. I'm happy that finally, maybe we have found ourselves a playbook that will complement the players that I've put together on this team. And it seems like it's helping Drake May develop. Keon Coleman might be developing a little bit. Same thing with Michael Owenu. Ramondre's not really developing. Last year when we did this on Madden 24, Ramondre became like an X factor, I think. So he was like a stud. But this year it seems to not be developing the same way. Just as long as we can get some of our younger guys to keep growing, that'll be the ideal thing. But we have arrived at week number 8, and I think my national focus is still going to be defensive end, because even though it's not a strength of the class, it is a weakness of ours that we could still use to develop and to rebuild the defensive line alongside Bennett. Barmore's good, Robinson's good, but maybe there's somebody even better. Who knows? And also, we've got restructuring of contracts possibly, because we've got Christian Gonzalez, Keon Coleman, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker. This could be the time that I finally not rid myself, but let go of Javon Baker. He's kind of got pushed to the side when we brought in Keon Coleman and then Chris Olave. So Javon Baker is a great player. He's just not the same type of player that Jalen Polk has turned into. He's 3 overall lower. So it's going to be quite the decision that I'm going to have to make. And as you can see, we don't really have any money. We've got $520K. So obviously we can't afford any of these contracts. So it does mean that we're either going to have to make some trades or we are going to have to restructure some contracts. But I'm probably going to do that at the end of the year, because maybe then I won't have to get rid of as many or restructure as many contracts. Maybe they'll roll over and help us. That's the goal. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but that is the goal. So let's keep simulating here until we get to week 13, when we can do our focus players. Unfortunate loss to the Falcons there, and now we're taking on the 7-1 Cowboys, so that's probably going to be a loss as well. And it is. Okay, going on a little bit of a losing streak here. I don't like this. Get a win back there. We lose the Jets. Okay, so the team has not put it together. 3 straight losses, maybe even 4, depending on what we did before we stopped simulating. This is not going well. I'll say that much. This is not going well. Get some wins back against the Eagles. This is when we need to get the wins back. We lose against Philadelphia. Okay. It's going bad. It is going very, very bad. We beat the Bills finally. We get a win. Okay. So we have ended the losing streak, but that was a rough losing streak of like 4 games right in a row. That could be us out of the playoffs right there. Although we are battling, this is a bad division. The AFC East is a very bad division this year, so we could sneak in as just a division winner. That's a real possibility. That is something that could happen, but we need to play a little bit better. I don't know what those 4 wins or 4 losses were. We can't have that. So it looks like, are there any good DNs in this class? We've got a couple that could be good here in the first to second round. What about on the other side? We got a couple that also could be solid. We'll wait until the end of the season to find out exactly how good they are. What about edge rushers? That's something else that we could really, really use to replace Josh Uche. There could be an undrafted guy, Colby Davis, that might be solid, but it doesn't look like it's that good of a linebacker class in general with any of the 3 positions. Maybe they could be a little bit better if I dive a little bit deeper into them, but it doesn't look that great. Ooh, okay, so the couple of the tackles could be pretty good. We might as well scout a couple of them because we're going to be, if it keeps going the way that it's going, we're going to be in the top of the tackle class. So we might as well figure out some tackles that are going to be pretty good, and then maybe in the last chance of scouting before the draft, we'll do defensive guys, something like that. We don't really need defense though. That's the question, or that's the problem. Like, defense is not really our problem, or maybe it is because we're losing games by allowing 24 points to Philadelphia. I don't know. It's definitely going to be interesting. We need to get some wins. We really, really do. I'm going to simulate to the end of the year, and hopefully things will change. Luckily, thankfully, we did turn it around. I was getting a little bit worried there. 10-7. The 49er playbook seemed to help us out towards the end of the season, thank God, because I was really worried that we were going to miss the playoffs again. But we have made the playoffs, taking on the Jets. I don't think we won the... Oh, we did! We won the division, and that's why we get the home playoff game. Okay. Very good. Very, very good. How did the stats look out here for our boys? So Drake May, 4,100 yards, 35 touchdowns, 11 picks. I feel like that is better than last year, right? With the CJ Stroud Texans playbook. I'm pretty sure. That's a really good season from Drake May. The 11 picks are good. I wish it was single digits, but hey, I mean, 11 is better than 12. So I'll take that. 884 and 5 touchdowns for Ramondre. I just don't think we have a running back on this team that is going to be able to get the job done because Ramondre is already getting pretty old. Maybe this guy down here, Kenny York, I think he's the one with the development trait, with the star development. It could be Blanton as well. No, it's not Blanton. I think it's York. Whoever it is. I mean, Ramondre might just not be the guy this year. I don't know. Chris Olave does get 1,000 yards, which is really cool. Like to see that. 6 touchdowns. Silvers had 848 and 6 touchdowns. Coleman had 13 touchdowns. Okay. With 812 yards. Very cool. Very, very cool. Defensively, we had 115 tackles from Biddle. No surprise there. 72 tackles from Bolton. 66 for Gonzalez. 65 for Mapu. 12 tackles for Losser Bennett. I mean, he's a stud. What do you expect? He's a freaking animal. And he led the team in sacks with 12.5. Maybe the Baltimore defense is just not really our style. 4 interceptions for Gonzalez, 2 for Jones, 2 for Bennett. I knew Anthony Bennett was going to have a good season. He had a pretty solid season. Maybe the Baltimore defense is what we need to change. We already changed offense to 49ers. Maybe Baltimore defense is where we need to change. Maybe we need to go to Dallas or Buffalo or something like that. But it is playoff time. For the first time in the series, we make the playoffs. Can we win a game? Ooh, okay. We win our first playoff game of the series. Will that kind of snowball into a deep run? I doubt it. We have to play Cincinnati now. What's going to happen here? They won 12 games this year. And we lose to the Cincinnati Bengals in the divisional round. Okay, so it doesn't lead to anything crazy like a deep run or anything. But hey, making the playoffs is a good start, especially because we need to start picking up the pace with our team building here if we want to build a dynasty. So we make it to the divisional round. We're starting to see that rise. We are starting to see that rise in the team. It's going to be the Steelers and the Panthers in the Super Bowl. That's kind of wild, actually. We'll see what happens. Steelers, Panthers, Super Bowl. Super Bowl. Okay. So, I don't know who won. We'll have to take a look at the season recap. The fact that they took away the ability to see it before you go into the season recap is kind of wild. I don't know why they did that. Seems kind of stupid. But whatever. Steelers win. TJ Watt is the MVP of the Super Bowls. Dak Prescott wins MVP of the league. Micah Parsons Defensive Player of the Year. Cowboys just swept they swept the awards. They didn't get Coach of the Year, but they got Offensive Rookie of the Year as well with Lamar Goodwin, wide receiver. So maybe that's our sign to switch everything to Dallas offense, Dallas defense. I don't know. That could be a possibility. Maybe that's what we need to do. But I like the way that the 49er playbook gave us, or I like the way that it worked for us this year. We'll accept the fifth-year option of Kareem Biddle and of Carl Bennett. We have minus $8.5 million, so we are obviously going to have to restructure some contracts, which is no real big deal. It's kind of annoying a little bit, but we should be able to do it pretty easily, especially with Chris Olave's massive contract that he has. These couple ones right up here should free up enough money to really get the job done, I would think. We restructure Owenyu's contract, Nick Bolton's contract. Can't do Barmore. Oh, we can do Barmore. Okay. Oh, that's Carl Bennett. Can't do Barmore's. We did Bennett's. We can't do Drake May. Drake May is going to be a free agent next year. That's not good because we're not going to have any money to re-sign him, especially when we're re-signing all these guys. Luckily, this isn't like a massive year to re-sign, so that's good. But next year with Drake May is going to be pretty interesting. So we freed up $27 million. That's not enough to bring back Christian Gonzalez. It's really not enough to bring back anybody. Oh no, we could be in a big piece of trouble here. We got to lock down Christian Gonzalez. That's just obvious. So if we offer him that, he's going to come back. $12 million. Oh, Keon Coleman, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, Zach Zinter, Caleb Farley. Oh, there's some guys here that I don't want to let go. Luckily, Caleb Farley's not going to be that much money. But Zach Zinter is going to be a tough... We're not going to be able to get Zach Zinter and Keon Coleman, obviously. But we might be able to get Zach Zinter and Jalen Polk on the same deal. Like with the same $12 million. I'm going to try. $6 million. I don't know if we're going to be able to get Zach Zinter back if we re-sign Jalen Polk. But we do need Jalen Polk back, especially if we're not going to get Keon Coleman back. So if I do a 4-year deal for Polk and we bump it up to 4 and 3.5, he says that's perfect. He's coming back. $4.9 million. I got to get Caleb Farley back because we need the depth at corner. So we'll get a 3-year deal for Caleb Farley. 2.5 and 1.5. He's going to come back. That leaves us $1.1 million and some guys that need to get traded now. Unfortunately. I don't like it, but it's just the way the cookie has crumbled. So let's get this figured out. We've got to trade some people. It's going to have to be... Where's he at? Where is he at? There's Tyree Wilson. We're probably going to have to trade Tyree. Let's start with Mapu and Tyree. Let's combine the... Not Mapu. Wait, is Mapu up? No, it's Kyle Duggar, I think. Yeah, Kyle Duggar. I was about to trade Mapu. That would have been bad. Let's get offers for them. So if we could take Cyrus Torrance, which could be a nice replacement for Zach Zinter, I guess. Or we could get the younger guy, Morris Haas. Maybe that's a little bit smarter. Let's do a counter offer. What's his contract look like? Is he still on his rookie deal? I think he just got drafted. Yeah, okay. So Morris Haas, this is the right idea. We trade Tyree Wilson and Kyle Duggar to the Seattle Seahawks for a young right guard. That way, Zach Zinter, we don't have to worry about. I would like to get Zach Zinter back, but we can't afford that, so we have to replace. Okay, so now that we did those trades, let's trade Keon Coleman, unfortunately, and probably Javon Baker as well. No trade packages, that's okay. We can trade for another wide receiver. Who is going to be a cheaper wide receiver that is going to be able to fill in what we need to fill in? That's a little bit trickier, a little bit more tricky of a question. Maybe Eric Langford? That could be something. Maybe we go for these two guys from the Cardinals, Eric Langford and Chris Salcedo. Let's put these two guys in the thing, and they might just accept this straight up, although I don't know what they value Eric Langford at. Maybe I can toss in a draft pick as well. Maybe we get a little crazy. Didn't mean to do that. There we go. Maybe we get a little crazy. We toss in a draft pick with Keon Coleman. Ooh, okay, so that would have went through straight up. Good thing I tossed in that draft pick, because now we know that we can probably come away with a draft pick, whether it's a third-round pick or a pick next year maybe. Third-round pick this year. Keon Coleman and Javon Baker head to the Cardinals. We bring back 2 more wide receivers and a third-round pick this year. That should be everybody that we need to trade. Who do we need to trade? Oh, Zinter, that's right. So we need to trade Zach Zinter, and I think that's everybody. None of these guys are going to be able to get any value, so we'll trade Zach Zinter. Hopefully we can, because as you can see, we're negative $3.8 million. So I'm hoping that we can actually accomplish the trade. So let's trade Zach Zinter. We can't, because we don't have enough cap room, because he's obviously not making that much money. Is there anybody? Oh, Drake Jackson makes a lot. Okay, there we go. Perfect. That does push it through. We can get Javon Baker back, but we'd have to re-sign him. We don't have the money. That's obviously why we traded him. Sheldon Henderson, another wide receiver. Would that be smart to go for another wide receiver? We could go for Derek Elliott, a safety. That might be smarter, because I mentioned how I don't have, excuse me, I don't have a plan for safety, either one, really. So, and we just brought back a superstar wide receiver, so we wouldn't really need Sheldon Henderson. I think we go for the Vikings trade. We accept that trade. We bring back a strong safety. I think that's the smarter idea, because now at least we have a plan. We can move that man to either free safety or strong safety, depending on what we need at the time. So let's go and do this. We have now Blanton as our starting running back, because Ramondre has dropped significantly. I think I might as well just start the guy that has the development trait, see what happens with him. Okay, so now our wide receiver room looks a little bit weaker, but adding the addition of the superstar development receiver is definitely pretty good. Silvers goes up to superstar development, which is awesome. Haas just goes right into starting right guard. Defensively, we add in Elliott, who starts over Mapu. Okay, that's cool. But what's his overall at free safety? Because Jabril Peppers is starting to get a little bit lower. So if we change this man to free safety, does he stay 82? Does he go down? Does he go up? What happens? Experiment stuff happening here. He stays 82. Perfect. So that allows for Elliott to start at free safety. Mapu can still start at strong safety. We are very thin. We don't have a lot of depth, especially in the defensive line. We have no depth on defensive line. Corner is good. We don't have to worry about corner in the draft this year. We needed linebacker depth. We need defensive line depth, absolutely. And then we need to get offensive line depth. We need a running back that could be a little bit better. There's a lot of needs that we need to have in this draft. And I think that's the last guy that we needed to sign. So, okay. I think we didn't necessarily get worse with those losses right there. With the losses of Keon Coleman and stuff. We did get worse, technically. But I feel like we didn't get as worse as we could have. Like, I feel like we came away with some solid players to replace those guys. Obviously, nothing as good as the guys that we had. But it's okay. So the free agent class is very interesting. Jared Wiley has become a 87 overall X Factor tight end. I don't know even who Jared Wiley is. He's from TCU. What? Who does he play for? I can't see his. Can I see his player card? I can. Jared Wiley. I don't know who this is. he was in Kansas City, which makes sense. That was my first thought of why he became as good as he is, because he's in Travis Kelce role. But why is he? Who is he? I don't know who this guy is. Jared Wiley. I know a lot of NFL players. I don't know Jared Wiley. 6'6". He's obviously a real player. I just don't know who he is. Huh. Weird. That's one of the weirder ones I've seen. But the free agent class is interesting. We don't need any. Well, we need stuff, but we don't have the money to get any of the guys. So we might as well just go straight to the draft and straight to the final piece of scouting. Get everything ready there, and then and do the good stuff, which is scout the future of the Patriots and hopefully the next generation that brings us a championship. That is obviously the goal. All right, so how did those guys turn out? So Ronnie Lindsay ends up being a 1-2 talent, which is very interesting. Oh, what about that other left tackle? So this guy's an undrafted defensive end. That's not good. Nate Austin's round 2 to 3. It seems like the defensive end class might not be the greatest thing. This guy's round 1 to 2, which is more along the lines of what I would take. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm going to scout Jameel Harris because he's a top guy. I want to know how good he is. We're not going to have that good of a pick because obviously we were a playoff team and we won a playoff game, so we're going to have to do a little bit of scouting down here. Let's scout Rashad Davis, excuse me. And then we will scout probably one of these two guys, Calvin Singer or Jamie Gaines. Let's scout Jamie Gaines. We'll scout those 3 linebackers, and hopefully one of the 3, hopefully all 3, are good enough to warrant our draft pick. But I don't even know what draft pick we have. I need to see the mock draft and see what draft pick we're even working with here. Mock draft, number 5. Our right tackle is going to go number 1. What draft pick are we working with here? We have the number 25 pick. Okay, that's not the greatest pick in the world, but hey, we made the playoffs. That's what happens. So if I want to trade up, would there be anybody that I absolutely want to trade up? There's no I don't know any of the top 5 talents. Most of them are probably going to be quarterbacks. Jameel Harris is a true round 1 talent, but he's at number 6. I feel like that's going to be a little bit out of my reach for possibly trading up. How good were those other guys, though? So we found out that Harris is a round 1. We know a couple of round 2 to 3 guys. Where are the other guys that I scouted? Davis is round 2 to 3. We'll keep that in mind. And then I think it was an outside linebacker. He's also round 2 to 3. Okay, so we might be able to come away with 2 really good outside linebackers in the 3rd round. Remember, we have 2 third-round picks because we made that trade. So we could come away with somebody pretty good. Defensive end is a thing that we need, and there doesn't seem to be. I mean, the top guy in the class, he's 23 years old, and he's bad. I mean, come on, what are we doing here? But it seems like the defensive end class is not as good as I was hoping it would be. We might be able to get away with this guy. Trey Nance is our 1st-round pick. I don't know. We'll have to go in there and see what happens. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a good draft for the things that we need. But here we go. Start drafting. We will pause it just in case. I know I already have it paused manually in the settings, but let's get to our user pick and figure out what our game plan is here. We could use depth on pretty much every single position. A couple of the quarterbacks have fallen. So we've got Dominic Good, who's still here, and we've got Junior Clifford, who's still here. We know that Junior Clifford is a true round 1 to 2 talent, but he's projected around 2 to 3. We might just have to take him because we don't really have. Those are the only 2 positions that we have left scouted that we know the true talent of. So we might have to, at least in the top half here. I think Junior Clifford might be my guy. 6'6", but he's got poor speed. I don't like that at all. But he's got A hip power, A impact block, A pursuit. I mean, his block shed and power moves are both B. He doesn't look like a bad player. Just the speed is really, really bad. But that might not matter in simulation as much as it would matter in if you're playing the games. I think I'm going to take Junior Clifford. That's probably not the best idea, He was ranked number 50 in true value, and he's got normal development. Oh, that's a big whiff. It's a big whiff in the first round. I think that speed really hindered him. I think we could have probably got somebody else. That quarterback is still here. He must be really, really sucky. Okay, here are the 2 outside linebackers. I think it's time to take them. I think it's time to take the 2 outside linebackers. We don't really have any other better choice. So let's take the 1. He ends up being a true value of 68. We got him at 57. He doesn't have a dev trait, really? Almost dropped my controller there. How does he not have a dev trait? That's kind of annoying. We have the first pick of the 3rd round. I forgot we made the trade with the number 1 overall pick. That's right. So that allows us to probably get the other guy too. I think I'm going to do that. Rashad Davis. He's going to come to the team. Please have a dev trait. He's ranked number 59 in true value. Finally, dev trait for Rashad Davis. I should have taken him in the first one in the 2nd round, but I thought that the other guy might have been a little bit better. It doesn't matter now. We got both of them. And we have our 2nd, 3rd round pick. That quarterback is still here. How bad is he? Artie Newberry. He doesn't have a great name. He doesn't do anything well in terms of physicals. His accuracies are fine. He looks like I can see why he's still here. That's a reason why I can see he's still here. Dan Bacon though, he's got A accuracy for medium and short and A under pressure. Dan Bacon at 6 foot. Maybe we grab, and I think it said he had elite throw power down there. Maybe we grab ourselves a quarterback here in the 3rd round to back up, because we just lost Joe Milton, so maybe we grab ourselves a little Bacon. Throw a little Bacon in the dynasty. He's ranked number 39 in true value. No development trait, but 94 throw power. And you know what? I want my quarterback to rock the draft with a bow tie. That's a quarterback right there. That's how you know he's a winner. With a white bow tie, you know you got yourselves a winner. I think now we need to draft offensive linemen. We didn't need to take that quarterback, but we did anyway. I think it's time to go for offensive line. And the unfortunate thing is, I didn't scout very many offensive line, if any. So we're just gonna go off of vibes. Who do we think is a good vibe player? Let's see. Everybody here in the centers is undrafted, potentially. Except for these 2 guys right here. They both look pretty bad. I don't think I want to. Usually center you can get away with some good players down the board, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. Is there any guards that are worth it? I mean, it's kind of a bad draft now that I think about it. We kind of missed on some of the good guys, but I don't think this draft is going to be that good anyway. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that good. Maybe we take a tackle. I mean, it's probably just a waste at this point to take any of these guys. Who's got the best awareness left? It's this guy, Kelvin Cummings. But his run block is horrible. His pass block is not great. He's got A impact block. This just seems not good. I'm just going to take a guy. Gil Strait. I like his name. We're just going to take him. At least he's depth. At least he's depth. And we're going to simulate the rest of the draft here. This episode turned out to be not as good as I wanted it to be. I mean, we made the playoffs, so that's something, I guess. But, I mean, the negative salary cap, the draft didn't go the way that I wanted it to go. I don't know. We didn't get that many high-rated players. We got 73 overall Junior Clifford, 72 Jamie Gaines. At least he has a development trait. Oh, no, it was just Rashad Davis who had the development trait. Davis has the development trait. He's 73 overall. Bacon ends up being a 74 with no dev trait. Then they took a bunch of scrubs at the bottom half. I don't know. Wait, I need to go back to... I didn't mean to back out there. I want to go see... Was this draft class really that good? It didn't seem to be that good. But maybe it was just because I didn't scout the right guys. Oh, no. This draft class was not that good at all. 378s. And that's it. And the quarterbacks who were projected top 5, none of them were actually in the top 5. That is kind of why. And I guess they technically are because there's a lot of 76s here tied. So I guess technically they are top 5. But it seems like a couple corners were the true top 5 guys. But that was kind of a buns class. Not really good at all. But we moved to year number 5, season number 5. Next episode, we'll be halfway through the dynasty, the 10-year dynasty, and I don't know if it's going our way or not. It's tough to say. It is tough to say. We've got a normal dev guy playing running back for us. Our offensive line, I think, is good enough to handle it. Tight end's good. Drake May's getting better, which is the biggest piece. We've added some depth, at least a little bit, in the linebacking room. We didn't add really any depth in the pass rushing game because the pass rushing was bad. So, there was no good defensive ends. We added Clifford, but is he really going to be anything? Maybe. He could be something, I guess. Probably not. But that is going to do it for the episode. I'd like to end it on a positive note, but I don't know. I don't really got that feeling. Usually when I get a feeling, I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm excited for the next episode because I think that something good could happen. But I don't really get that feeling right now. I kind of feel like we're just kind of going to be in no man's land for a couple of years, which is not where you want to be when you're trying to build a dynasty. So I don't know what's going to happen in the next couple episodes, especially not next episode. What's the salary cap situation going to be like? How are our players going to develop? Are we even going to win the games we need to win? There's a lot of things that are up in the air for Season 5, Episode 5. So I hope you guys are excited because it's going to be a very interesting episode. If you enjoyed this one, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I truly appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.